I'm Amanda, 32 years old, lying in this hospital bed alone after giving birth to my daughter Lily just hours ago. My husband Michael walked out on me mid-contraction, leaving nothing but the echo of his cruel words. If only he knew about the $10 million inheritance sitting in my account. The nurses keep checking on me with pitying looks, unaware that beneath my tears lies determination. I never imagined becoming a single mother and CEO simultaneously, but life rarely warns you before it shatters your expectations. Before I tell you how my husband's new wife discovered I was her boss, let me know where you're watching from and hit that subscribe button if you've ever had to rebuild your life after someone walked away. 6 years ago, my life was on a completely different trajectory. I had just graduated from business school with honors, my ambition practically radiating from me as I navigated the corporate world with wide-eyed optimism. I landed a promising position at FinTech Innovations, a growing financial technology company that recognized my potential from day one. I met Michael Thompson at an industry conference in Chicago. I was presenting research on emerging market trends when I noticed him in the front row, nodding along intently to my points. He approached me afterward, business card extended, with genuine interest in my analysis. Your perspective on digital banking integration was refreshing, he said, his blue eyes crinkling at the corners when he smiled. Most people miss the human element entirely. There was something magnetic about his confidence, the way he balanced ambition with warmth. Our coffee meeting to discuss professional opportunities quickly evolved into dinner, and before the night ended, I knew something special was beginning. Our courtship was a whirlwind of intellectual conversations, weekend getaways, and shared dreams. Michael worked as a financial advisor at a prestigious firm, and we connected over our mutual drive for success and financial security. Within 8 months, he proposed during a surprise picnic in Central Park, the autumn leaves creating a golden canopy above us. You challenge me to be better every day, he said, kneeling with a vintage diamond ring. I want to build an empire with you, Amanda. Our wedding was everything I had imagined, elegant but not extravagant, held at a restored historic mansion with 150 guests witnessing our promises to support each other's dreams. My father, teary-eyed as he walked me down the aisle, whispered that he had never seen me look so happy. The first years of marriage were blissful harmony. We purchased a comfortable condo in a rising neighborhood, each promotion or bonus celebrated as a shared victory. Michael cheered me on through every career advancement, seemingly proud rather than threatened when I rose to Director of Strategic Development within 3 years. Power couple status confirmed, he would joke, clinking glasses with me after each milestone. When we decided to start a family at 29, I expected the same seamless progression that had characterized our lives so far. But nature had other plans. Month after month of negative pregnancy tests turned into a year, then 2, then 3. We navigated the world of fertility specialists together, or so I thought. Michael held my hand through disappointing appointments and hormonal treatments, assuring me that our family would happen when the time was right. The fertility journey was exhausting, physically and emotionally. Each treatment drained our savings and my resilience a little more. I began to notice Michael's enthusiasm waning, his comforting words becoming rehearsed. Still, when we finally saw those 2 pink lines on the pregnancy test after our second round of IVF, his joy seemed genuine. He lifted me off my feet, spinning me around our bathroom before suddenly remembering my condition and gently setting me down. Our miracle is happening, he whispered against my hair. As if the universe was finally aligning everything at once, a week after confirming my pregnancy, I received an unexpected call from the CEO of FinTech Innovations. Amanda, we're restructuring leadership, Mr. Reynolds said. The board and I agree you're the natural choice for my replacement when I retire next quarter. We'd like to begin the transition process. I was stunned. At 31, becoming CEO of a company valued at over $300 million was beyond even my ambitious dreams. Michael organized a celebration dinner, inviting our closest friends and family to toast this pinnacle achievement. To Amanda, he raised his glass while I sipped sparkling water, proving that women truly can have it all. The timing seemed perfect. I would have 6 months to settle into my new role before taking maternity leave. My great-aunt Josephine's passing during my 5th month of pregnancy brought sorrow mixed with shocking news. Her attorney contacted me after the funeral, explaining that as her only living relative who hadn't forgotten her birthday for the past decade, she had left me her entire estate. The liquid assets alone total just over $10 million, Ms. Thompson, the attorney explained, sliding documents across his desk. Plus the summer house in Cape Cod and her art collection. I sat in stunned silence, thinking of Aunt Josephine's annual birthday cards with $20 bills inside, how I'd call to thank her and listen to her stories for hours. Those simple acts of kindness had resulted in financial freedom I never anticipated. I decided to keep the inheritance quiet temporarily, planning to surprise Michael after our baby arrived. We would buy the dream house we'd browsed online, but considered years away financially. We could establish a college fund immediately rather than worrying about saving enough over time. The nursery we were decorating in our condo would soon be replaced by a proper one in a home with a yard and room to grow. Those evenings painting the nursery walls a soft sage green remain vivid in my memory. Michael carefully assembling the crib while I arranged stuffed animals and tiny clothes. His hand resting on my growing belly, feeling our daughter kick. His voice as he talked about teaching her to ride a bike someday. I'll be the dad who builds the science fair projects with her, not for her, he promised. And you'll show her that glass ceilings are meant to be shattered. I fell asleep many nights imagining our future family, my hand protectively cradling my belly, completely unaware that the foundation was already cracking beneath the perfect life I believed we were building. The changes in Michael began subtly around my 5th month, when my pregnancy became impossible to hide and my body transformed visibly. Initially, I dismissed his increasing distraction as normal anxiety about impending fatherhood. His comments about our finances grew more frequent despite our stable situation. The hospital bills will be astronomical even with insurance, he mentioned one evening, scrolling through our accounts on his laptop. And formula, childcare, college savings. Have you really thought about how tight things will be on one income? I reminded him that my maternity leave was paid and that we had discussed our financial plan extensively before trying to conceive. Besides, I added, my promotion came with a substantial raise. We're more secure than we've ever been. He nodded absently, but the worried furrow in his brow remained. I should have recognized this as the first warning sign. Michael had always been confident about our financial future, often the one reassuring me during leaner years. This role reversal felt subtle but significant. My 2nd trimester brought unexpected complications. My blood pressure began rising to concerning levels, and at 26 weeks, my obstetrician Dr. Martinez recommended reduced hours at work. By 28 weeks, she placed me on bed rest. Your body is sending clear signals to slow down, she explained, her kind eyes serious above her mask. This pregnancy needs to be your primary focus now. The timing couldn't have been worse professionally. The board had announced my upcoming position as CEO, but the formal transition was still weeks away. I arranged to work remotely, determined to prove my commitment despite my condition. The company was supportive, but I felt the weight of expectations I feared I couldn't meet. Michael's behavior grew increasingly erratic. He began working later, claiming big clients needed extra attention. When he came home, he was emotionally distant, barely acknowledging my growing discomfort or the nursery progress. His phone became a permanent attachment, and he stepped into another room to take calls. One night while he showered, his phone buzzed repeatedly on the nightstand. Fighting against my better judgment, I glanced at the screen. A text preview from someone named Sarah Work read, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Don't forget to." The rest was hidden, but my stomach clenched. When confronted, Michael exploded with uncharacteristic anger. "So now I'm not allowed work contacts? You're checking my phone like some paranoid housewife." His face flushed with indignation. "This pregnancy has you imagining problems everywhere. Sarah is new in marketing, and I'm helping her navigate office politics." I apologized, blaming hormones and bed rest isolation for my suspicion. His explanation was plausible. Michael had always mentored younger colleagues. Still, something in his defensiveness lingered like an aftertaste I couldn't identify. As my condition deteriorated, I made the difficult decision to begin my maternity leave early before officially stepping into the CEO role. The board assured me my position would be waiting, with the CFO temporarily handling operations. Still, I worried about perceptions of my commitment and capabilities. Michael's resentment became less disguised. Comments about supporting a household alone slipped into conversations despite my salary being substantially higher than his. He suggested my career would naturally take a backseat now, as though my ambition had an expiration date coinciding with motherhood. My best friend Jessica noticed the shift during her visits. "Something's off with Michael," she observed while bringing me groceries one afternoon. "He barely asked about your appointment yesterday, and did you notice he hasn't put together any of the baby furniture you ordered last month?" I defended him reflexively. "He's under pressure at work and probably terrified about the baby. Men process differently." Jessica's expression remained unconvinced. "Just keep your eyes open, Amanda. Pregnancy doesn't give anyone permission to check out." I dismissed her concerns as overprotectiveness. After all, she had witnessed my heartbreak years before Michael, when my college boyfriend abandoned me after 3 years together. Jessica always viewed my relationships through the lens of potential disappointment. At 32 weeks, my blood pressure spiked dangerously during a routine checkup. Dr. Martinez admitted me to the hospital immediately. "We're looking at preeclampsia," she explained. "We need to monitor you and the baby continuously now." I called Michael from the hospital room, expecting him to rush over. Instead, his response was oddly detached. "They're probably just being cautious," he said, ambient office noise in the background. "I've got meetings until 7. I'll try to stop by afterward if visiting hours are still going." He did visit that evening for exactly 20 minutes, spending most of it complaining about the parking garage fee and asking when I might be discharged. As days in the hospital turned into a week, his visits became shorter and less frequent. Each time, he had a ready excuse: work emergencies, traffic, exhaustion. "These hospital bills are going to be outrageous," he muttered while glancing at his watch during one visit. "Insurance only covers 80%. I bit back the reminder that our deductible was already met and that my company benefits were excellent. Something had fundamentally changed in my husband, and as I lay connected to monitors tracking my daughter's heartbeat, I struggled to recognize the man who had once spun me around our bathroom in joy over this very pregnancy. The hospital room became my world: beige walls, the rhythmic beeping of monitors, and the rotating shifts of nurses who showed more concern than my husband. Michael visited only twice that week, each time for less than 30 minutes, his attention divided between his phone and the muted television mounted in the corner. The insurance company called about pre-authorization, he mentioned during one visit, not quite meeting my eyes. "They're questioning the necessity of extended hospitalization." Dr. Martinez submitted all the documentation. I replied, trying to mask my hurt with practicality. "My blood pressure is still dangerously high. They can't exactly send me home." He nodded distractedly. Sure. Just mentioning it." I managed company matters remotely despite my condition, answering urgent emails and participating in brief video conferences from my hospital bed. My assistant Rachel was invaluable, filtering only the most essential matters for my attention and keeping me updated on office dynamics. The board remained supportive, but I sensed unspoken concerns about my capacity to transition into leadership during such personal tumult. On my ninth day of hospitalization, I noticed unusual charges on our joint credit card while paying bills online, an expensive jewelry store purchase for $780 and multiple dinner charges at restaurants we'd never visited. When I called Michael's office to ask about them, his administrative assistant seemed uncomfortable. "Oh, Amanda. Michael took personal days this week. He mentioned a family emergency. I assumed it was related to your condition." Family emergency? My blood pressure monitor immediately registered a concerning spike, prompting a nurse to hurry in. I forced a calm I didn't feel, but as soon as she left, I tried calling Michael repeatedly. Each call went straight to voicemail. As evening approached, I felt the first contraction. Mild but unmistakable. Then another 20 minutes later. I called Michael again with growing urgency, leaving increasingly distressed messages. The contractions intensified and accelerated over the next hour, my panic rising alongside the pain. Dr. Martinez confirmed I was in early labor at 33 weeks. "Your blood pressure is concerning, and the baby's showing early signs of distress," she explained. "We need to prepare for delivery sooner than anticipated." Michael finally arrived just as I was being wheeled to the delivery room, his hair disheveled and smelling faintly of unfamiliar perfume. Something in his appearance, perhaps the misaligned buttons on his shirt or the guilt shadowing his eyes, crystallized all my suspicions into certainty. Between contractions that were now coming rapidly, I gathered courage to confront what I already knew. "Where have you been? Who is she?" His expression shifted from feigned concern to cold detachment so quickly it stole my breath more effectively than the contraction gripping my body. "This isn't the time, Amanda." "It's exactly the time," I gasped as another wave of pain crested. "I'm having your child while you're with someone else." The silence between contractions felt cavernous until he spoke words I never imagined hearing. "I can't do this anymore. Any of it." His voice was flat, emotionless. "I never wanted children. I went along with the treatments because you were so determined." I stared at him in disbelief as he continued, each word precisioned, targeted to inflict maximum damage. "Your pregnancy, the complications, now this hospital stay. I can't afford to support a jobless person anymore. You've put your career ahead of everything until it fell apart, and now I'm expected to carry everything." "Jobless? I'm the CEO. I'm on medical leave, not unemployed," I managed through another contraction. "And I was going to tell you after the birth, I inherited $10 million from Aunt Josephine." For a moment, something flickered in his eyes. Surprise, calculation, regret? But it vanished quickly, replaced by resolution. "It doesn't matter. I've found someone who actually makes me a priority. I want a divorce." As a particularly vicious contraction seized me, Michael turned and walked out, not just from the delivery room, but from our marriage and his daughter's birth. A nurse standing nearby gasped in shock, while another immediately moved to my side, her hand finding mine. "We're here with you, sweetie," she said firmly. "You focus on your baby now. That man's problems aren't yours anymore." The next hours blurred into a haze of physical agony amplified by emotional devastation. The delivery became complicated, my blood pressure dangerously high, the baby showing signs of distress. I found myself surrounded by medical professionals, but utterly alone in the most fundamental sense. Between pushes, bizarre thoughts surfaced, wondering if Michael was with her now, if he had planned this exit strategy for months, if anything in our marriage had been genuine. Each contraction became a dual battle against physical pain and cascading grief. The moment they placed tiny Lily on my chest, 5 pounds 3 ounces of perfect resilience, something solidified within me. Looking into her scrunched, determined face, I made a silent promise. She would never know abandonment from me, no matter what it took. "We made it, Lily," I whispered against her downy head. "Just you and me now." The nurses exchanged meaningful glances as they witnessed this bittersweet beginning, their efficiency tempered with unusual gentleness. One squeezed my shoulder as she checked Lily's vitals. "You're stronger than you know right now," she said quietly. "And from what I just saw, you're better off without him." In the recovery room, exhaustion finally claimed me, but not before I gazed at my daughter in her hospital bassinet and felt the strange duality of complete heartbreak alongside fierce, protective love. Michael had walked out, but Lily had arrived. One chapter ending violently as another began. The first 48 hours after Lily's birth passed in a fog of physical recovery, newborn care lessons from patient nurses, and the persistent, hollow ache of betrayal. Michael didn't call, text, or visit. The silence was another form of cruelty, leaving me to navigate the aftershocks alone while caring for our premature daughter. The hospital staff became my surrogate family. Nurse Diana smuggled extra pudding cups to my room for calcium, she insisted with a wink. Dr. Martinez visited daily, her clinical assessments balanced with maternal warmth. The lactation consultant spent extra time helping Lily and me establish feeding, her kindness never veering into pity. On the third day, Jessica arrived with toiletries, fresh pajamas, and news she clearly dreaded sharing. "I need to show you something," she said after hugging me carefully, mindful of my C-section incision. I debated whether to wait, but you deserve to know. She handed me her phone, opened to Michael's Instagram page. There, posted 12 hours earlier, was a photo of Michael outside the county courthouse, arm around a slender brunette significantly younger than me. His caption, "When you know, you know." Starting this new chapter with Sarah. The room tilted sideways. The woman from the marketing department. The texts. The unexplained absences. All while I carried his child. He got married? He actually got married while I was giving birth to his daughter. My voice sounded distant, belonging to someone else. The timestamp on the marriage license application was the day you went into labor, Jessica confirmed, her expression a mixture of fury and concern. Something inside me that had been barely holding together shattered completely. The monitors beside my bed began alarming as my blood pressure spiked dangerously. Jessica called for help as I gasped for breath, my vision tunneling and chest constricting in what I would later learn was a severe panic attack. The medical team responded immediately. I remember a sedative, concerned voices, Jessica's hand gripping mine, promises that Lily was fine in the nursery. When I regained clarity hours later, a different doctor stood by my bed, introducing himself as the hospital psychiatrist. The following days became a bizarre dance of physical healing, emotional devastation, and newfound maternal identity. Lily was transferred to the NICU for monitoring due to her prematurity, her tiny body connected to monitors that tracked her progress. I forced myself to focus on her needs rather than my collapsing personal life, wheeling myself to her incubator despite surgical pain. "She's a fighter," the NICU nurse commented as Lily grasped my finger. "Stubborn little thing. Wonder where she gets that from." The comment, meant kindly, sparked the first genuine smile I'd managed since labor. Yes, my daughter would need that stubbornness. So would I. On the 5th day postpartum, a hospital social worker named Marissa sat with me, offering resources for single mothers and listening without judgment as I haltingly shared my situation. "What you're experiencing is trauma layered upon trauma," she explained gently. "Pregnancy complications, premature birth, and profound betrayal simultaneously. Be patient with your healing process." Her validation felt like the first clean breath after drowning. That afternoon, however, brought fresh devastation when a courier delivered an envelope containing divorce papers. Michael hadn't even waited a week. The documents cited irreconcilable differences with no mention of Lily. He wanted our condo and requested the division of retirement accounts, apparently unaware of my inheritance. I contacted a lawyer from my hospital bed, a woman Jessica recommended who specialized in high-conflict divorces. She arranged a video consultation, her professional demeanor softening when she spotted Lily sleeping in the bassinet beside me. "He emptied your joint savings account yesterday," she informed me after investigating. Unfortunately, that's legally gray area during pending divorces. We'll address it, but I want you prepared for financial challenges. I laughed hollowly. He took $38,000 thinking he's leaving me destitute with a newborn, but he doesn't know about my inheritance or CO position. My lawyer's expression shifted to one I'd recognize frequently in coming weeks, the satisfied look of someone who appreciates poetic justice. Then we'll proceed carefully and strategically. He's shown his character. Now we use that. That evening, Rachel from the office visited, bringing flowers, company paperwork requiring signatures, and corporate congratulations on Lily's birth. After updating me on pressing business matters, she hesitated. There's something else you should know. HR processed a new hire in marketing last month. Sarah Winters. Age 26. The missing piece clicked into place. Michael's mentorship of the new marketing hire had evolved into something that destroyed our family. Rachel squeezed my hand. The board wanted me to assure you that your position is secure. Take whatever time you need for recovery. Everyone understands the extraordinary circumstances. After she left, I sat beside Lily's bassinet watching her sleep, torn between blinding rage and crushing sadness. For one dark moment, I contemplated how thoroughly I could destroy Michael professionally and financially. With my inheritance and position, I could ensure he regretted his choices for decades. The thought evaporated as Lily's tiny hand escaped her swaddle. My revenge fantasies suddenly seemed like wasted energy better directed toward healing and rebuilding. I would protect myself and my daughter legally and financially, but vengeance would only keep Michael central in our story. He didn't deserve that prominence. Later that night, my great-aunt's attorney called with final paperwork on the inheritance. The funds have been transferred to your account, Ms. Thompson. $10,423,016, to be precise. The amount, spoken aloud, emphasized the absurdity of Michael's claim about supporting a jobless person. His abandonment, while devastating, had possibly saved me years with someone who valued status over substance, appearance over authentic connection. As I drifted toward sleep that night, Lily's rhythmic breathing beside me, I felt the first fragile stirring of what might eventually become gratitude for this painful awakening. Michael had walked out, but in doing so, he'd revealed his true character before Lily was old enough to be damaged by his conditional love. 2 weeks after Lily's birth, we were finally discharged, my daughter having gained enough weight to safely leave medical supervision. Jessica transformed my guest bedroom into a nursery over several days, painting walls pale yellow and assembling the furniture Michael had neglected. I got everything delivered from your old place, she explained, hanging tiny dresses in the closet. The super let me in. I left Michael's things untouched. That first night home, the reality of single motherhood hit with full force. Lily woke every 2 hours, her hungry cries piercing the unfamiliar darkness. Postpartum recovery coupled with sleep deprivation left me questioning my capacity to handle everything ahead. By dawn, sitting in the rocking chair with Lily finally asleep against my chest, I allowed myself 5 minutes of quiet tears before resolving to create structure from chaos. I spent that morning making lists while Lily napped: legal priorities, work responsibilities, childcare options, financial reorganization. The methodical planning calmed my anxiety, transforming overwhelming circumstances into manageable action items. The company board chairman called that afternoon, his concern evident even through the professional tone. Amanda, everyone here supports your situation completely. Take the full 12 weeks of maternity leave. The interim leadership is stable, and your position awaits whenever you're ready. His reassurance lifted an enormous weight. My career, at least, remained secure despite Michael's prediction of professional collapse. Rachel visited regularly, bringing both company updates and office gossip. During one such visit while sorting paperwork, she mentioned Michael's new wife casually. Sarah started last Monday in the marketing department. Junior position, seems nervous around the executives. No one knows about her connection to your situation. The information shouldn't have surprised me, yet hearing that Sarah now worked at my company created a peculiar complication. I would eventually be her boss, CEO to her entry-level position. The irony wasn't lost on me. Has she mentioned Michael or her recent marriage? I asked, keeping my tone neutral. Rachel shook her head. She's wearing a wedding ring but hasn't shared details. Office policy doesn't require disclosing relationships unless there's a direct reporting line. I considered this development carefully. Let's keep my personal situation private at work. This doesn't need to become office drama. My attorney, Diane Patterson, proved worth every penny of her considerable fees. During our first in-person meeting at my apartment, she outlined a comprehensive strategy while Lily slept in her swing nearby. We'll file counter-documentation addressing the liquidated joint account. Since your inheritance remains separate property and predates the divorce filing, it's protected. The prenuptial agreement works significantly in your favor regarding the condo and other assets. I bounced Lily gently when she fussed. I'm not interested in a lengthy court battle. I want this resolved efficiently and fairly. Diane nodded approvingly. Given his abandonment during childbirth and immediate remarriage, we're negotiating from a position of considerable strength. I suggest we proceed without revealing your inheritance initially. Let his true intentions show through his demands. With legal matters in capable hands, I turned attention to practical reorganization. I interviewed night nurses to help with Lily, researched daycare options near the office for my eventual return, and established a small home office in the corner of my living room for remote work. Jessica helped coordinate a rotating schedule of friends bringing meals and checking in, creating a support system that proved invaluable during those early weeks. Her own experience as a single mother to 8-year-old Zach made her guidance practical rather than theoretical. You need to sleep when she sleeps, she insisted, taking Lily from my arms one afternoon. Go nap. I've got her for the next 3 hours. By the 6-week mark, Lily had settled into a more predictable routine, and I had begun handling limited work responsibilities remotely. The board was pleased with my gradual re-engagement, and I found the intellectual stimulation therapeutic after weeks focused solely on infant care and recovery. The text from Michael arrived unexpectedly one evening. We need to meet about the divorce settlement. My lawyer suggests mediation before court involvement. My heart raced reading his name on my screen, the first direct contact since he walked out during labor. After consultation with Diane, I agreed to a meeting at her office the following week. That night, Rachel called with information that changed everything. Sarah came to HR Today asking about the CEO transition timeline. She mentioned looking forward to meeting you, apparently completely unaware of your connection to Michael. From what I gathered, he told her you were a business school classmate who moved abroad years ago. The audacity was breathtaking. Michael had constructed an elaborate fiction for his new wife, one that would inevitably collapse once I returned to the office. There's more, Rachel continued. She's been assigned to the product launch team that reports directly to you. Your first meeting with that group is scheduled for your 2nd week back. After ending the call, I sat in the nursery watching Lily sleep, contemplating this development. Michael had created a situation that would spectacularly implode. Did he imagine I would quietly disappear from both the company and his life? Did he plan to quit before the connection became known? The next morning brought another surprising message, a request from Michael asking to visit Lily at my apartment, adding that Sarah looked forward to meeting my daughter. The phrasing, my daughter rather than our daughter, spoke volumes about his detachment. More shocking was his assumption that I would welcome his new wife into my home to meet the baby she helped him abandon. After consulting both Diane and my therapist, Dr. Weston, whom I'd been seeing weekly since discharge, I replied with a counter-proposal, a brief meeting at the hospital for Lily's scheduled 6-week checkup. Public, time-limited, and on neutral ground. His immediate acceptance suggested relief, perhaps at avoiding my apartment with its evidence of our shared past. As I prepared for this confrontation, selecting a professional outfit rather than the leggings and nursing tops that had become my uniform, I realized this would be a pivotal moment in establishing the tone of our post-marriage interactions. Remember, Dr. Weston had advised during our session, you're no longer his wife, but Lily's mother. Every interaction should serve her interests, not emotional closure. I rehearsed calm responses to potential scenarios, determined to maintain dignity regardless of provocation. Jessica helped style my hair and applied subtle makeup the morning of the appointment, her support extending beyond practical assistance to emotional reinforcement. "You look strong," she said, adjusting my blazer collar. CEO strong. With Lily dressed in her sweetest outfit, we headed to the hospital, my anxiety building with each mile. In the parking garage, I took a deep breath, reminding myself of everything I'd survived in recent weeks. Whatever happened next, I had already endured the worst and emerged intact. The pediatric wing of the hospital felt different as a visitor rather than a patient, brighter, less intimidating. I arrived early, checking in at reception before settling in a corner of the waiting area with Lily securely in her carrier. Each passing minute increased my tension, my rehearsed composure threatening to crack under the weight of imminent confrontation. I had chosen my outfit carefully, a professional navy dress that concealed postpartum changes while projecting authority, subtle makeup covering evidence of sleepless nights, hair styled in a sleek bob that felt like armor. The stranger in the waiting room mirror looked composed and confident, belying the turbulence beneath. When Michael and Sarah entered, I recognized her immediately from social media photos, petite with glossy brown hair and youthful features. She clutched Michael's arm possessively, wedding ring prominently displayed. Michael's expression cycled rapidly through shock, discomfort, and forced neutrality upon seeing me. I hadn't anticipated how physically painful the sight of him would be, the familiar angle of his jaw, the way he adjusted his glasses when nervous, mannerisms once beloved now tainted by betrayal. More jarring was his apparent recovery while I remained raw with grief. He had simply replaced his life while I rebuilt mine from ashes. "Amanda," he nodded stiffly, maintaining distance. "You look recovered." The inadequacy of his greeting after everything hung in the air between us. Sarah stepped forward with manufactured enthusiasm, either oblivious to the tension or determined to power through it. "I'm Sarah, Michael's wife," she announced, extending her hand with confidence that suggested she believed herself the victor in an unspoken competition. "It's so nice to finally meet Michael's friend from business school." Friend from business school. The fabrication was even more absurd face to face. I accepted her handshake briefly, noting her confusion when I didn't correct the introduction. "This must be Lily," she continued, peering into the carrier with exaggerated interest. "She's adorable." Michael's mentioned wanting to be part of her life. "We both think it's important for children to have father figures." The presumption that they would define my daughter's family structure ignited something protective within me, but I maintained my practiced calm, addressing Michael directly. "Dr. Baker should call us soon. He's reviewing Lily's NICU discharge records before the examination." Michael shifted uncomfortably. "How has she been doing? Any lingering issues from the prematurity?" The clinical question without emotional investment felt like another betrayal. This was his daughter, not a business inquiry. Before I could respond, a nurse appeared in the doorway. "Mrs. Thompson?" "The doctor is ready for Lily's appointment," she called, then added with professional courtesy, "Mrs. Thompson is the CEO of FinTech Innovations, so we adjusted her appointment time to accommodate her schedule." The effect was immediate and dramatic. Sarah's expression transformed from polite interest to stunned recognition, color draining from her face as connections visibly formed in her mind. "She is my CEO," she whispered, turning to Michael with widening eyes. She's that Amanda Thompson? Michael's face contorted in disbelief. No way, you must be kidding. I lifted Lily's carrier calmly, addressing the nurse. Thank you. We're coming. Then to Sarah, whose professional composure had completely disintegrated. Yes, I'm returning from maternity leave next month. I believe you're on the product launch team that reports to my division. Sarah's gaze darted between Michael and me, comprehension dawning with horrifying clarity. You told me Amanda was your classmate who moved to London years ago. You said Lily's mother was a brief relationship after your divorce. Michael's attempt at damage control was painful to witness. Sarah, I can explain. The situation is complicated. Complicated? Sarah interrupted, her voice rising sharply. Your wife is my CEO? The pregnant CEO everyone's been talking about for months? The one who was hospitalized with complications. Other patients in the waiting room were now watching openly, the drama unfolding more publicly than I had anticipated. Michael grabbed Sarah's elbow, attempting to guide her toward the exit, but she pulled away, turning to me with genuine distress. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know you were pregnant when we started seeing each other. He told me you were separated. The sincerity in her voice suggested she too had been manipulated, another casualty of Michael's deceptions. I felt an unexpected flicker of compassion beneath my anger. There's more you should know, I said quietly. Michael walked out during Lily's birth, claiming he couldn't support a jobless person anymore. He emptied our joint account the next day, then served divorce papers while I was still hospitalized. Sarah's expression transformed from confusion to horror. The day we got married, you were in labor? Michael attempted intervention, his voice tight with barely controlled panic. Amanda, this isn't appropriate. What isn't appropriate is abandoning your pregnant wife, marrying someone else while she gives birth to your child, then creating elaborate lies to cover your behavior. I replied, my voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through me. And the inheritance? Sarah asked, putting pieces together with impressive quickness. The one you mentioned was coming from your aunt? The question confirmed my suspicion that Michael had anticipated financial gain through our marriage. I addressed Sarah directly, recognizing her as another victim of his calculations. $10 million. He didn't know when he left me. Ironic timing. The color drained completely from Michael's face as he processed the magnitude of his miscalculation. His expression cycled through shock, regret, and something more calculated as he visibly reassessed his position. Amanda, he began, his tone shifting to one I recognized from client presentations, reasonable, slightly apologetic, designed to negotiate favorable terms. We should discuss this privately. For Lily's sake, we need to maintain civil. For Lily's sake, I interrupted calmly, I'll be requesting full custody with structured visitation contingent on parenting classes and therapeutic support. My attorney will contact yours with details. Michael's facade cracked, revealing the desperation beneath. You can't keep my daughter from me. And the prenup doesn't account for your inheritance or CO position. Actually, it explicitly covers future earnings and inheritances. You might want to review the document you signed, I responded, then turned to Sarah. I don't blame you for his actions. What happens between you two is separate from our professional relationship at FinTech. Sarah's expression reflected growing comprehension of her situation, personally and professionally. I need some air, she muttered, moving toward the exit with quick, unsteady steps. Michael hesitated, clearly torn between following his new wife and attempting to salvage something with me. Amanda, we need to talk about this rationally. The money, the custody arrangement. I have a pediatrician waiting to examine your daughter, whom you haven't asked about once except regarding lingering issues. That tells me everything I need to know about your priorities, I stated, lifting Lily's carrier. My lawyer will contact yours. Goodbye, Michael. As I turned to follow the nurse, Michael grabbed my arm. You can't just dismiss me. I have rights. The security guard stationed near reception approached immediately. Is there a problem here, ma'am? This man is leaving, I replied calmly. "He's not authorized to attend my daughter's medical appointment." Michael's face flushed with impotent rage as the guard positioned himself between us. "This isn't over, Amanda," he said, backing toward the exit. "Actually, it is," I responded, feeling a strange lightness replace the anxiety I'd carried for weeks. "It was over the moment you walked out during labor." As Michael disappeared through the sliding doors in pursuit of his distraught new wife, the pediatrician emerged from the examination room, eyebrows raised questioningly at the commotion. "Family drama," I explained with unexpected composure. "But Lily and I are doing just fine on our own." For the first time since giving birth, I genuinely believed those words. The confrontation I had dreaded had instead become a moment of reclaiming power I didn't realize I had surrendered. Michael's hold over my emotions felt tangibly weaker as I carried Lily into the examination room, my focus shifting completely to her health and future, a future increasingly clear would be built on my terms, not his. 6 months after that pivotal hospital confrontation, Lily and I settled into a rhythm that felt increasingly like normal life rather than crisis management. My daughter thrived despite her premature start, meeting developmental milestones with determination that made her pediatrician smile. "Strong like her mother," Dr. Baker commented during her 6-month checkup, noting her perfect growth curve and emerging personality. My return to the CEO position had been both challenging and affirming. The board's confidence proved justified as I led the company through a successful quarter, implementing initiatives planned before Lily's arrival while introducing new vision shaped by my transformed perspective. One of my first executive decisions was establishing an on-site child care center available to all employees. The corporate benefit received enthusiastic board approval not just for its positive press, but measurable impact on employee retention and satisfaction. The center allowed me to have lunch visits with Lily and eliminated childcare transportation logistics for working parents company-wide. The divorce proceedings concluded with surprising efficiency once Michael realized the prenuptial agreement was ironclad. His attempts to claim partial ownership of my inheritance failed immediately, and his demand for the condo disappeared when counter-documentation revealed his abandonment during childbirth and immediate remarriage. The custody arrangement proved more contentious until his attorney recognized the unfavorable impression Michael's behavior would make in family court. We settled on supervised visitation with required parenting classes and therapy, requirements Michael initially resisted until facing the alternative of more restrictive court-determined access. Sarah filed for annulment 3 weeks after the hospital revelation, moving to a different department within the company to avoid direct reporting conflicts. During a brief elevator encounter, she apologized sincerely for her unwitting role in the situation. "I was completely deceived," she admitted quietly. "I would never knowingly become involved with a man whose wife was pregnant, much less hospitalized." I believed her. In an unexpected development, Sarah proved exceptionally talented in her new role, her work ethic and creativity earning recognition completely separate from the personal drama that brought her to the company. With the inheritance funds secured, I purchased a comfortable 4-bedroom home in a family-friendly neighborhood with excellent schools. The process of decorating Lily's proper nursery became therapeutic, selecting furniture, painting walls soft green, creating the secure space my daughter deserved from the beginning. Jessica remained my steadfast support, our friendship deepening through shared single motherhood experiences. Her son Zach appointed himself Lily's protective big cousin, reading books to her with exaggerated character voices that produced her earliest belly laughs. Rachel's assistance during my transition back to work evolved into genuine friendship. Her efficiency and discretion during the divorce proceedings revealed loyalty beyond professional obligation. Together with Jessica, they formed the core of my expanding support system. Therapy with Dr. Weston continued weekly, the sessions evolving from crisis management to deeper healing work addressing trust issues that predated Michael's betrayal. Her gentle guidance helped me recognize patterns in previous relationships that had left me vulnerable to someone who viewed love as transactional rather than unconditional. The greatest predictor of future relationships is how thoroughly you process past ones, she observed during one particularly insightful session. You're doing that difficult work now, which many people avoid their entire lives. For months after our divorce finalized, I encountered Dr. James Keating, a pediatric cardiologist who had consulted on Lily's case during her NICU stay. Our accidental meeting in the hospital cafe led to professional discussion of Lily's progress, then casual conversation that revealed shared interests in classical music and hiking. His genuine interest in Lily's development and respectful understanding of my complex circumstances felt refreshingly straightforward after Michael's hidden agendas. When he eventually asked about coffee outside the hospital setting, I surprised myself by accepting. Our relationship developed with deliberate slowness, my newfound caution balanced by his patience. Unlike Michael's whirlwind courtship, James showed consistent character over time, his actions and words reliably aligned whether discussing patient care or personal values. Lily is always your priority, he said simply when I apologized for rescheduling dinner after my daughter spiked a fever. That's exactly as it should be. By Lily's first birthday, celebrated in our backyard with close friends and family, I realized how profoundly my life had transformed in 12 months. The betrayal that once seemed unsurvivable had become merely one chapter in a continuing story rather than its devastating conclusion. The birthday gathering embodied this transformation, Jessica managing the practical details, Rachel capturing photographs, Dr. Weston attending as a friend rather than therapist, James helping other guests' children with the bubble machine. My father, initially devastated by Michael's abandonment, watched with visible pride as I navigated my reconfigured life with increasing confidence. That evening after guests departed, I sat on the porch swing with Lily sleeping against my chest, watching fireflies emerge in the gathering dusk. The inheritance that Michael coveted had provided security, but the genuine wealth accumulated that year existed in relationships strengthened through adversity and self-knowledge earned through painful growth. The foundation I established with a portion of my inheritance, supporting single mothers facing crisis pregnancies, represented another form of healing through giving. Each quarter, the organization provided emergency housing, medical advocacy, and career rebuilding assistance to women abandoned during vulnerable transitions. You felt something beautiful from something broken, Jessica observed, joining me on the swing and adjusting Lily's blanket. Not everyone manages that. The observation captured what therapy had helped me recognize, that resilience isn't about emerging from trauma unchanged, but about integrating painful experiences into a more complex, compassionate identity. The woman I was before Michael's betrayal couldn't have navigated the challenges I now manage daily, couldn't have established appropriate boundaries or recognized authentic support. As I tucked Lily into her crib that night, I thought about the letter I'd written for her future self, sealed and stored in a memory box alongside her hospital bracelet and first photographs. The letter acknowledged the circumstances of her birth not as tragedy, but as the beginning of our remarkable journey together. Sometimes losing what you thought you wanted, I had written, create space for what you truly need. Your arrival taught me that family isn't defined by traditional structures, but by unconditional love and unwavering presence. The day you were born was both an ending and a beginning, the most beautiful beginning I could never have imagined. Standing in the doorway watching her peaceful sleep, I felt profound gratitude replace the anger that once consumed me. Michael's actions, while inexcusable, had inadvertently freed me from a marriage built on performance rather than partnership. His absence created space for authentic connections with people who valued me beyond status or convenience. The journey from betrayal to rebuilding had taught me that genuine strength rarely emerges from circumstances going as planned, but rather through facing what seems unsurvivable and discovering you are more capable than you ever imagined. This was the legacy I hoped to demonstrate for Lily. Not perfect circumstances, but perfect love through imperfect situations. Have you ever experienced a betrayal that eventually led to something better in your life? I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. Sometimes our greatest growth comes from our deepest pain, and sharing these journeys helps others find their way forward too. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life experiences. Thank you for being part of this healing journey with me and Lily. Remember, sometimes what feels like an ending is actually the beginning of something far more beautiful than you could have imagined.